something. Have you ever looked into someone's eyes and felt peace, only to discover later that you were staring into deception? Have you ever trusted words that sounded sincere, only to realize they were carefully rehearsed? Something. The greatest betrayals in life rarely arrive wearing the face of an enemy. They come smiling, they shake your hand, they praise your dreams, they call you friend. The painful truth is this. People reveal themselves long before they betray you, but most never learn how to read the signs. Every conversation is a confession. Every habit is a clue. Every reaction is a window into a hidden character. Those who know how to observe do not depend on luck. They see what others ignore. They recognize danger before it becomes disaster. Today, you will learn how to read people like a book before you trust them. Because trust is precious, and once it is placed in the wrong hands, the price can be years of regret. There is an ancient truth that most people discover too late. Words are the cheapest thing a human being can produce. A promise costs nothing. An apology costs nothing. A compliment costs nothing. But character always demands a price. The world trains you to listen. Wisdom trains you to observe. Most people spend their lives hypnotized by beautiful speeches. They become loyal to confidence instead of consistency. They mistake charm for honesty. They confuse charisma with integrity. Yet the most dangerous people often master the language of kindness while living a life of manipulation. Understand this carefully. A person's mouth introduces them. Their habits expose them. If you want to know someone's future behavior, stop asking who they say they are. Start watching what they repeatedly do when no reward is waiting for them. Parts never lie. A single mistake can be forgiven. A repeated mistake becomes a revelation. The tragedy is that many people ignore repeated patterns because hope blinds them. Hope whispers maybe they'll change. Reality answers they've already shown you who they are. Every person leaves footprints. Some leave footprints of loyalty. Others leave footprints of selfishness. The wise never ignore either. One of the greatest weaknesses of the human heart is the desperate need to believe the best about everyone. Compassion is beautiful. Naivety is expensive. There is a difference. Compassion allows you to care without becoming blind. Naivety asks you to ignore every warning because you don't want to appear judgmental. Life has never rewarded blindness. It rewards discernment. Look carefully at how someone treats people who cannot benefit them. Watch how they speak to waiters. Observe how they respond to criticism. Notice how they act when nobody important is watching. Character always reveals itself where performance disappears. Anyone can wear a mask for an interview. Anyone can smile during a first meeting. Anyone can imitate kindness for a season. But nobody can fake their nature forever. Time exhausts every actor. Eventually, the mask becomes too heavy. That is why patience is one of the greatest forms of intelligence. People expose themselves if you simply refuse to rush. The modern world glorifies speed, instant friendships, instant business partnerships, instant romance, instant trust. But everything valuable grows slowly. A tree does not become strong in one day, neither does trust. The people who rush you into trusting them often fear what time will reveal. Real character is never threatened by patience. It welcomes examination. Another lesson that many ignore is this. Pay attention to inconsistency. Liars rarely fail because they speak falsely. They fail because maintaining a false identity requires perfect memory. Truth is effortless. Deception is exhausting. The more someone lies, the more cracks begin to appear. Their stories change. Their emotions fail to match their words. Their reactions become defensive when simple questions are asked. You are not searching for perfection. You are searching for consistency. Consistency is the language of integrity. Contradiction is often the language of hidden motives. There is another sign that rarely fails. Observe what people celebrate. What excites them reveals what controls them. If someone constantly admires power, do not be surprised when they sacrifice people to gain influence. If they worship money above principles, do not expect loyalty when wealth appears elsewhere. If they admire deception as intelligence, eventually they will practice that intelligence against you. People eventually become what they repeatedly praise. Pay attention. Envy is another hidden window into the soul. A healthy person celebrates your victories. An insecure person quietly competes with your happiness. Sometimes they smile while secretly hoping you fail. Sometimes they congratulate you while searching for your weaknesses. Envy rarely announces itself loudly. It hides beneath sarcasm, passive comments, backhanded compliments, yet discouragement. Be careful around those who become uncomfortable whenever you succeed. A loyal heart feels joy for another person's progress. A threatened heart feels fear. You must also learn to study silence. Most people focus only on words. something. Wise observers examine what remains unsaid. Silence under pressure reveals emotional discipline. Silence after success reveals humility. Silence during gossip reveals maturity. Silence before making promises reveals wisdom. Something. The loudest person is not always the strongest. Sometimes excessive talking is simply camouflage for insecurity. Those who constantly explain themselves often fear being discovered. Confidence rarely screams. It stands quietly. Something. Never underestimate how people behave when life becomes difficult. Pressure introduces the real person. Fire reveals whether metal is genuine. Comfort hides weaknesses. Adversity uncovers them. Some become generous during hardship. Others become cruel. Something. Some become responsible. Others become victims. Pain does not create character. It reveals character. That is why difficult seasons are powerful teachers. You finally discover who remains loyal when comfort disappears. Many people stand beside your success. Something. Few remain beside your struggle. Remember this forever. The easiest time to gain friends is when you have something they want. The hardest time is when you have nothing to offer. The people who remain during your winters deserve your springs. Something. Another powerful observation concerns accountability. Immature people blame, mature people reflect. Ask yourself this: does this person always have someone else responsible for every failure? Every broken relationship was supposedly another person's fault. Something. Every lost opportunity was unfair. Every criticism came from jealous people. Every mistake has an excuse. Be cautious. Someone who never accepts responsibility eventually becomes dangerous because they believe they owe nobody an apology. Without accountability, something. Trust becomes impossible because trust cannot grow where responsibility does not exist. One of the deepest secrets of reading people is learning to ignore emotional intensity. Many manipulators overwhelm others with affection. They create instant closeness. Something. Instant loyalty, instant emotional dependence, but genuine relationships mature naturally. Healthy trust grows like sunrise. Manipulation explodes like fireworks. One lasts, the other disappears. Never confuse intensity with sincerity. Something. Some fires burn brightly because they consume everything quickly. Others burn steadily because they are built on something real. Choose the steady fire. Always. Finally, remember this truth that life teaches every wise soul. Something. You cannot control who enters your life. You cannot prevent every betrayal. You cannot eliminate every deceiver, but you can become the kind of observer who notices what others ignore. Discernment is not suspicion. It is wisdom wearing open eyes. Something. Keep your heart compassionate, but keep your mind awake. Love people. Respect people. Forgive people, but never surrender your judgment simply because someone speaks beautifully. Trust should never be given because someone asks for it. Something. Trust should be earned because someone consistently proves worthy of it. The person who learns to read actions instead of promises walks through life with fewer regrets, stronger relationships, and a peace that cannot be manipulated. Because in a world full of masks, something, the greatest protection is not fear. It is the quiet discipline of seeing people exactly as they are before you decide to let them into your life. Every human being carries two identities. One is carefully introduced to the world through words, smiles, promises, something, and polished appearances. The other quietly lives beneath the surface, revealed only through repeated actions over time. Most people spend their lives judging the first identity while completely overlooking the second. They become captivated by confidence, something, impressed by eloquence, and persuaded by charm. Yet none of these qualities guarantee honesty, loyalty, or integrity. Words are incredibly easy to manufacture. A person can rehearse kindness, memorize encouragement, something, and imitate sincerity without ever possessing genuine character. This is why so many people wake up one day feeling betrayed. They believed what they heard instead of paying attention to what they repeatedly saw. Something. The greatest mistake people make is assuming that one beautiful conversation reveals someone's heart. It does not. A conversation can be planned. A speech can be rehearsed. Compliments can be calculated. Even acts of generosity can be performed for personal gain. Something. Character is never measured by isolated moments. It is measured by consistent behavior across different circumstances. When you stop listening only to what people say and begin observing what they continually do, life becomes much clearer. Something. Confusion begins to disappear because actions refuse to hide behind clever language. Ports are the fingerprints of character. They reveal motives that words desperately try to conceal. A person who repeatedly arrives late is showing more than poor time management. Something. They may be revealing a lack of respect for other people's time. Someone who continually breaks promises is communicating something far deeper than forgetfulness. They are demonstrating that their commitments carry little weight. something. A person who constantly changes stories is revealing instability, whether intentional or not. These repeated behaviors are not random accidents. They are windows into the habits that shape their identity. Something. Many people ignore patterns because emotions cloud their judgment. They want relationships to work so badly that they invent explanations for obvious warning signs. They tell themselves everyone deserves another chance, even after receiving 10 chances already. Something. Hope becomes louder than evidence. The heart begins negotiating with reality, trying to convince itself that tomorrow will somehow erase what yesterday repeatedly proved. Yet life does not change simply because we wish it would. Something. Patterns continue until something within the individual genuinely changes, and real change is always demonstrated through new actions rather than fresh promises. Think about how nature works. Something. A tree is not identified by one leaf, but by the fruit it consistently produces season after season. Rivers carve valleys because of continual movement, not a single wave. Mountains are formed through repeated pressure over time. Something. Everything in creation teaches the same lesson. Consistency defines reality. Human character follows the very same principle. One kind gesture does not prove kindness. One honest conversation does not prove integrity. One generous act does not prove generosity. Something. The truth appears only after observing repeated behavior over time. Some people become experts at saying exactly what others want to hear. They study emotions the way actors study scripts. They know when to apologize, when to flatter, when to encourage something, and when to remain silent. They understand that words create emotional comfort, and emotional comfort often lowers people's defenses. But while words may create temporary impressions, habits create permanent reputations. Something. Eventually, every person's routine begins exposing the beliefs hidden beneath their carefully chosen vocabulary. What they repeatedly prioritize reveals what truly matters to them. Watch how someone handles small responsibilities before trusting them with larger ones. Something. If they neglect simple commitments, do not expect excellence when greater responsibilities arrive. If they casually disappoint people in everyday situations, larger opportunities will only magnify those same habits. Something. Character does not suddenly improve because the circumstances become bigger. Bigger opportunities simply reveal existing habits on a larger stage. Pay attention to how people treat those from whom they have nothing to gain. Something. Anyone can display kindness towards someone powerful, wealthy, or influential. That behavior requires little sacrifice because rewards may follow. Genuine character appears when there is no audience applauding and no advantage waiting in return. Something. Observe how someone speaks to service workers, strangers, children, elderly people, or anyone unable to elevate their status. These ordinary interactions reveal extraordinary truths. They expose values that carefully crafted speeches often fail to reveal. Something. Patterns also appear in how people respond when life refuses to cooperate with their plans. Some individuals repeatedly become bitter whenever obstacles appear. Others repeatedly seek someone else to blame. Some consistently refuse accountability, something, while others continually learn, adapt, and grow stronger. These responses are not isolated emotional reactions. They become habits, and habits eventually define destiny. Something. A person who refuses responsibility today will likely refuse responsibility tomorrow unless genuine transformation takes place. One of the greatest dangers is becoming hypnotized by potential instead of reality. Something. Many relationships survive only because one person keeps falling in love with who the other person might become instead of honestly accepting who they consistently are today. Potential is inspiring, but patterns are reliable. Dreams may comfort you, something, but evidence protects you. Wisdom is not pessimism. Wisdom simply refuses to confuse possibility with probability. If someone has repeatedly demonstrated selfishness, dishonesty, or unreliability, something, believing they will suddenly become different without visible change is not hope. It is self-deception. This is why patient observation is one of the strongest forms of intelligence. There is no need to rush into conclusions, but there is also no need to ignore what continues appearing before your eyes. Time has a remarkable ability to expose hidden realities. People become comfortable, their routines stabilize, their masks grow heavy. Eventually, effort fades, and authenticity quietly steps forward. Those who observe without becoming emotionally blinded begin recognizing these shifts long before betrayal arrives. The wise understand that listening is important, but observing is essential. They hear promises, yet they wait for proof. They appreciate kind words, yet they value consistent behavior far more. They refuse to build trust on emotional excitement because they know excitement fades while habits remain. something. Every repeated action becomes another sentence in the story of someone's character. Every repeated decision writes another page revealing who they truly are. Something. The person who learns to study these pages instead of believing every spoken chapter gains a priceless advantage, because patterns never become exhausted by maintaining appearances, never forget previous performances, and never struggle to remain consistent with reality. They simply continue revealing the truth, one ordinary decision after another, until character becomes impossible to hide. One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing that time changes everyone. Time does not automatically transform character. More often than not, time simply reveals what was hidden from the beginning. The person who appeared generous may slowly expose selfish motives. The one who seemed humble may gradually become consumed by pride. The individual who presented themselves as loyal may eventually walk away when loyalty demands sacrifice. This is why wisdom never rushes trust. It understands that time is not merely something to endure. It is a powerful force that removes disguises, strips away pretenses, and uncovers the reality that first impressions often conceal. In the beginning of every relationship, whether personal, professional, or romantic, people are usually operating at their highest level of self-control. They consciously choose their words. They carefully manage their emotions. They pay close attention to every detail of how they are perceived. They smile more, listen more, apologize more quickly, and hide their weaknesses with remarkable discipline. This is not always because they are dishonest. Sometimes it is simply human nature to present our best selves during new beginnings. Yet no person can maintain a perfectly crafted image forever. Eventually life becomes busy. Familiarity replaces caution. Comfort replaces performance. The effort required to sustain an image begins to fade, and genuine character quietly emerges. Patience has always been the greatest ally of discernment. Most people lose this advantage because they mistake urgency for opportunity. They fear that waiting will cause them to lose something valuable. They rush into friendships because they feel lonely. They rush into partnerships because the opportunity seems exciting. They rush into trusting someone because they crave connection. Yet haste has destroyed more relationships than patience ever has. What begins quickly often collapses just as quickly because it was built on emotion rather than evidence. There is a reason ancient wisdom consistently praises patience. Patience creates space for observation. It allows emotions to settle so that judgment can become clearer. When excitement fades, reality begins to speak more loudly. Small habits become visible. Repeated behaviors form recognizable patterns. Tiny inconsistencies that once seemed insignificant begin connecting like pieces of a puzzle. What was once hidden beneath charm slowly becomes impossible to ignore. Many people fear silence because silence forces them to observe. Instead of watching carefully, they fill every quiet moment with assumptions, expectations, and fantasies about who they hope someone will become. They create stories in their minds that have little connection with reality. They interpret every compliment as proof of loyalty and every act of kindness as evidence of lasting character. But patience asks a different question. Instead of asking how someone makes you feel today, patience asks who they continue to prove themselves to be tomorrow, next month, and next year. The mask every person wears eventually becomes heavy. Pretending requires energy. Maintaining appearances demands constant awareness. A dishonest person must remember every lie. A manipulative person must constantly calculate every conversation. Someone pretending to be generous must continue performing generosity, even when no personal benefit exists. Over time, this becomes exhausting. Human nature naturally seeks comfort, and comfort often causes people to stop pretending. They begin reacting instead of performing. Their true priorities become visible. Their real beliefs quietly surface through ordinary behavior. This is why repeated exposure is one of the greatest tests of character. A single meeting rarely tells you much. Even several meetings may reveal very little. But months of consistent interaction begin exposing truths that no interview or first impression could ever uncover. Observe how someone behaves after disagreements. Notice whether their respect remains when they no longer need your approval. Watch whether their promises survive inconvenience. Genuine integrity remains steady even when circumstances change. False character adjusts itself depending on who is watching and what rewards are available. People often reveal themselves through familiarity. At first, they are careful not to interrupt. Later, they begin speaking over others. At first, they show gratitude. Later, they begin expecting special treatment. At first, they honor commitments. Later, excuses become more common than responsibility. None of these changes happen overnight. They unfold gradually, almost invisibly, making them easy to dismiss if you are impatient. But patience notices gradual change because patience is paying attention while everyone else is being distracted by appearances. One of the most dangerous habits is allowing urgency to override discernment. Manipulative people often create artificial pressure because they know time is not their friend. They encourage immediate decisions, immediate trust, immediate commitment, and immediate emotional investment. They understand that if you slow down long enough to observe them, inconsistencies may become impossible to hide. This is why anyone who genuinely respects you will also respect your need for time. They will not become offended because you choose wisdom over haste. Real character is never threatened by careful observation because real character has nothing to conceal. The strongest relationships are never built in moments of excitement alone. They are built across ordinary days filled with routine conversations, shared responsibilities, disappointments, victories, misunderstandings, and reconciliation. It is during these ordinary moments that true character quietly reveals itself. Anyone can appear dependable during extraordinary occasions. Consistency during everyday life is a far greater measure of trustworthiness. Another lesson time teaches is that emotions change much faster than principles. Feelings rise and fall with circumstances. Excitement fades, attraction fluctuates, enthusiasm comes and goes, but principles remain remarkably stable. Someone whose life is grounded in honesty will usually tell the truth whether it is convenient or costly. A person guided by integrity will continue doing what is right even when recognition disappears. Time separates temporary emotion from permanent conviction. The longer you observe someone, the easier it becomes to identify which part of their behavior is emotional and which part is rooted in genuine values. Patience also protects you from becoming a prisoner of first impressions. Some of the finest people may seem quiet or reserved at first because they are sincere rather than performative. Others may appear extraordinarily charming because they have mastered the art of creating instant connection. If you judge too quickly, you may reject trustworthy people while embracing those who simply know how to impress. Time balances these illusions. Quiet integrity gradually becomes unmistakable, while empty charm slowly loses its influence. Life has a remarkable way of arranging situations that no one can predict. Unexpected success arrives, financial hardship appears, criticism comes without warning, opportunities emerge, loss enters unexpectedly. Through each season, people reveal different parts of themselves. Some become arrogant after success. Others become generous. Some become bitter after disappointment. Others become resilient. These moments cannot be rehearsed because they are unexpected. And it is precisely during the unexpected moments that authentic character speaks most honestly. Those who learn to wait without becoming impatient possess a quiet strength that many never develop. They understand that trust is too valuable to be built on appearances alone. They recognize that every additional day of observation provides another opportunity for truth to reveal itself. They refuse to confuse familiarity with certainty or excitement with wisdom. Instead, they allow time to perform its silent work, knowing that every mask eventually becomes too heavy to wear, every performance eventually loses its energy, and every hidden motive eventually leaves traces through repeated actions that no carefully chosen words can permanently conceal. Anyone can appear strong when life is easy. Anyone can seem kind when everything is going their way. It is remarkably simple to smile when there is nothing to lose, to speak gently when there is no pressure, and to promise loyalty when no sacrifice is required. Comfort creates an environment where almost everyone looks respectable. Success often hides weaknesses because there is no immediate reason for those weaknesses to surface. This is why judging people only during peaceful seasons is one of the greatest mistakes you can make. Calm waters reveal very little about the strength of a ship. Only storms expose whether it was built with integrity or merely painted to appear strong. Pressure has a unique way of stripping away appearances. It removes rehearsed responses and exposes natural instincts. When people are surprised by hardship, disappointment, failure, or criticism, they often react before they have time to carefully manage their image. In those moments, you begin to witness the person beneath the mask. Their true beliefs, emotional habits, and moral foundations become visible because pressure does not create character. It reveals the character that has always existed beneath the surface. Think about how precious metals are tested. Gold is refined through fire, not comfort. Steel is strengthened through intense heat, not gentle conditions. Diamonds are formed under immense pressure, not peaceful surroundings. Nature itself teaches that pressure is a powerful revealer. Human beings are no different. Difficult seasons uncover strengths and weaknesses that ordinary days keep hidden. What someone chooses to do when life becomes uncomfortable often tells you more than years of pleasant conversations ever could. Observe how people respond when they are criticized. This is one of the clearest windows into emotional maturity. Some people immediately become defensive. They refuse to listen, searching only for arguments to protect their pride. Others attack the person offering correction rather than honestly examining themselves. They confuse accountability with humiliation and see every disagreement as a personal attack. But individuals with genuine character respond differently. They may not enjoy criticism, but they are willing to reflect before reacting. They ask themselves whether there is truth hidden within the discomfort. They understand that growth often begins where pride is challenged. Failure also exposes what success often conceals. When plans collapse and expectations are shattered, people reveal the foundation upon which they have built their lives. Some become consumed by bitterness, believing the world owes them an easier journey. Others surrender responsibility and spend their energy blaming circumstances, family, society, or anyone else they can find. Yet there are those who choose another path. They accept disappointment without surrendering discipline. They learn instead of making excuses. They rise without allowing failure to define their identity. These responses are not accidental. They reveal habits of thinking that existed long before the difficult season arrived. Pay close attention to how people handle disappointment. Small frustrations often uncover larger truths. A delayed opportunity, an unexpected inconvenience, or an unmet expectation may seem insignificant, but these moments reveal emotional discipline. Someone who loses self-control over every minor inconvenience will likely struggle even more when major crises appear. A person who treats others with respect only when everything is going well has built their kindness on comfort rather than conviction. True character remains remarkably consistent even when circumstances become unpleasant. Hardship also reveals priorities. During comfortable seasons, people often claim that family, integrity, loyalty, and compassion are their highest values. But when pressure arrives, priorities become impossible to hide. Some abandon relationships in pursuit of personal gain. Others sacrifice principles for temporary success. Some compromise honesty because they fear losing status or security. What people protect during difficult moments reveals what they truly worship. Values that disappear under pressure were never deeply rooted to begin with. Another powerful test of character is success itself. Many assume hardship is the greatest challenge, yet success often reveals hidden flaws even more dramatically. When recognition increases, some individuals become arrogant. They begin believing they deserve special treatment. Gratitude slowly disappears, replaced by entitlement. They forget the people who supported them during difficult seasons and begin measuring human worth through achievement or influence. Others respond to success with humility. They remain teachable. They continue treating people with respect regardless of social status. Success magnifies whatever already exists within the heart. If humility lives there, success expands humility. If pride lives there, success gives pride a louder voice. Watch carefully how someone behaves when they possess power over others. Power creates opportunities that expose hidden motives. A manager reveals character through the way they treat employees. A parent reveals character through the way they discipline children. A leader reveals character through the way they handle authority. Anyone can appear respectful toward those who hold greater influence, but the true measure of integrity appears when someone has nothing to fear from the people beneath them. Compassion exercised through authority demonstrates maturity. Cruelty exercised through authority exposes insecurity disguised as strength. Financial hardship reveals another dimension of character. Scarcity often exposes generosity or selfishness in ways abundance never could. Some people continue helping others despite having little themselves because generosity has become part of their identity. Others become increasingly possessive, believing survival requires abandoning compassion. Money does not create generosity any more than poverty creates selfishness. Financial pressure simply uncovers beliefs that were quietly shaping decisions all along. Relationships themselves become powerful testing grounds. Observe people during conflict rather than only during harmony. It is easy to be patient when everyone agrees. The real question is how someone responds when disagreements arise. Do they insult, manipulate, withdraw, or seek revenge? Or do they pursue understanding, something. Speak honestly and maintain respect even while expressing disagreement. Conflict exposes emotional discipline because emotions naturally rise when expectations collide. Mature individuals refuse to allow temporary frustration to destroy lasting relationships. Something. Unexpected loss also uncovers remarkable truths about the human spirit. Grief, disappointment, and broken dreams remove many of the distractions that normally occupy the mind. During these seasons, people either grow deeper or become consumed by resentment. Something. Some discover compassion because suffering teaches them empathy. Others become hardened because pain becomes the center of their identity. Neither outcome appears overnight. Pressure simply accelerates what was already developing within the heart. Something. One of the wisest habits you can develop is resisting the temptation to judge people solely by their best moments. Celebrations are enjoyable, victories are exciting, and achievements deserve recognition, but these moments reveal only part of the story. Something. Watch people during ordinary disappointments, unexpected setbacks, difficult conversations, personal failures, and uncomfortable responsibilities. These experiences reveal qualities that polished success stories often conceal. They expose emotional resilience, humility, accountability, patience, and integrity in ways that peaceful seasons never can. The greatest lesson pressure teaches is that appearances have limits. Charm eventually gives way to instinct. Performance eventually gives way to habit. Carefully managed images eventually surrender to authentic reactions. Those who understand this do not become cynical or suspicious. Instead, they become patient observers of human nature. They recognize that adversity is not merely something to survive. It is one of life's greatest classrooms, revealing who remains honest when lying would be easier, who remains loyal when leaving would be more convenient, who remains humble when power becomes available, and who remains compassionate when carrying burdens that would tempt many others to abandon the very principles they once claimed to value. Most people spend their lives listening to words while completely overlooking the silent language that surrounds every conversation. They become fascinated by promises, compliments, explanations, and emotional speeches, believing that truth lives primarily in what people choose to say. Yet the deepest truths about human character are rarely spoken aloud. They are quietly revealed through habits, reactions, body language, moments of silence, accountability, and the way someone consistently treats the people around them. If you want to understand people before placing your trust in them, you must train yourself to read what cannot be heard as easily as what can. Words can be carefully selected. They can be rehearsed, edited and polished until they sound convincing. Hidden signals are far more difficult to control. A person may declare endless loyalty while their actions repeatedly reveal selfishness. Someone may speak confidently about honesty while avoiding eye contact during important conversations or constantly changing details whenever they tell the same story. The problem is not that body language or facial expressions are perfect detectors of deception. Human behavior is far more complex than that. The real wisdom comes from observing clusters of signals that remain consistent over time. One gesture proves nothing. One nervous reaction means very little. But repeated behaviors begin forming patterns that speak louder than carefully chosen words. One of the strongest hidden signals is accountability. Listen carefully to how people describe the difficult moments of their lives. Do they accept responsibility for their mistakes, or does every story end with someone else being blamed? Some individuals seem to have an endless list of villains responsible for every disappointment. Former friends misunderstood them. Previous employers treated them unfairly. Every failed relationship was entirely the other person's fault. Every setback happened because someone else refused to appreciate them. While unfair circumstances certainly exist, a life completely free from personal responsibility is rarely grounded in truth. Mature people understand that growth begins the moment they are willing to examine themselves before pointing at others. Observe how someone responds when they receive correction. A teachable person may feel uncomfortable, but they remain willing to listen. They separate their identity from the criticism and search for lessons that might strengthen them. An immature person immediately builds walls of defense. They interrupt, justify, deny, or attack because protecting their pride matters more than discovering the truth. Accountability is not merely about admitting mistakes. It reveals whether humility has become part of someone's character or whether pride quietly controls every conversation. Another hidden signal appears in the way people treat those who have little influence. Anyone can be respectful towards someone who possesses wealth, authority, or popularity. Such behavior often brings obvious reward. But true character appears when there is nothing to gain. Watch how someone treats service workers, strangers, children, elderly people, or individuals who cannot improve their social standing. These ordinary interactions often reveal extraordinary truths. Kindness offered without expectation of reward carries far greater weight than kindness displayed before an audience. Silence is another powerful language that many overlook. Most people feel uncomfortable with quiet moments, rushing to fill every pause with unnecessary words. Yet silence often reveals emotional maturity. Someone who listens carefully before responding demonstrates patience and self-control. They value understanding more than immediate recognition. Others cannot tolerate silence because they fear losing attention or control of the conversation. They interrupt frequently, dominate discussions, and rarely allow others to finish expressing themselves. These habits reveal more than poor communication. They often expose insecurity disguised as confidence. Notice how people respond to the success of others. This hidden signal speaks directly to the condition of the heart. A secure individual celebrates another person's achievements without feeling threatened. They encourage growth because someone else's victory does not diminish their own value. An insecure person struggles to celebrate sincerely. They may offer compliments while quietly searching for reasons to minimize another person's accomplishments. Sometimes envy disguises itself through sarcasm, subtle criticism, or passive remarks that slowly drain joy from those around them. Genuine encouragement flows naturally from hearts that are not controlled by comparison. Body language also deserves thoughtful observation, though never simplistic judgment. No single gesture should become the foundation of your conclusions. People cross their arms because they are cold, avoid eye contact because they are shy, or fidget because they are anxious. Context always matters. However, repeated physical behaviors that consistently contradict spoken words deserve careful attention. Someone who constantly appears uncomfortable while discussing simple truths, repeatedly changes posture during difficult questions, or becomes unusually defensive whenever specific topics arise may be revealing internal conflict. The goal is not to become suspicious of every movement, but to recognize when actions continually disagree with speech. Habits often reveal motives long before dramatic events occur. Small routines quietly expose priorities. Does someone repeatedly keep their promises? Even when the promises seem insignificant. Do they arrive when they say they will? Do they complete responsibilities without needing constant reminders? Reliability is rarely built through grand gestures. It grows through countless ordinary decisions that demonstrate consistency. Trustworthy people understand that small commitments prepare them for greater responsibilities. Those who casually neglect little obligations often struggle with larger ones as well. Pay attention to emotional intensity. Many people mistake powerful emotions for deep sincerity. Someone who speaks passionately, expresses overwhelming affection, or creates immediate emotional closeness may seem trustworthy simply because the experience feels meaningful. Yet emotional intensity is not the same as emotional stability. Manipulative individuals often understand the persuasive power of strong emotion. They overwhelm others with praise, urgency, or exaggerated promises to create quick attachment. Wise observers recognize that healthy relationships grow steadily rather than explosively. Lasting trust develops through consistency, not emotional extremes. Notice whether someone's private behavior matches their public image. Integrity exists where there is harmony between the two. Some people become completely different depending on who surrounds them. They adjust their values to fit every audience, saying whatever gains approval in the moment. This constant shifting may impress people temporarily, but it eventually exposes a lack of deeply rooted principles. Individuals with genuine character remain remarkably consistent regardless of status, location, or audience. Their beliefs are not costumes they change throughout the day. They are foundations upon which every decision rests. One of the most overlooked signals is how someone handles another person's vulnerability. When people share personal struggles, secrets, or failures, trustworthy individuals protect that confidence with care. They do not transform private conversations into entertainment or gossip. Those who casually expose another person's weaknesses reveal something significant about themselves. something. If they repeatedly betray someone else's trust in your presence, there is little reason to believe they will guard yours when circumstances change. Patience remains essential while reading hidden signals because no single observation tells the complete story. Human beings are wonderfully complex and everyone experiences moments of stress, fear, or misunderstanding. Wisdom never rushes to judge based on isolated incidents. Instead, it patiently collects evidence across many conversations, situations, and seasons of life. Over time, these quiet signals combine to create a remarkably accurate picture of someone's character. They reveal whether humility outweighs pride, whether accountability overcomes excuses, whether compassion remains steady under pressure, and whether consistency quietly confirms every promise long before trust is fully placed in their hands. Trust is one of the most valuable gifts a human being can offer another person. Unlike money, once it is broken, it cannot simply be replaced. Unlike possessions, it cannot be bought back with enough effort. Trust is built slowly, protected carefully, and destroyed quickly. Yet many people hand it away as though it costs nothing. They trust because someone appears friendly. They trust because they hear comforting words. They trust because they fear offending others by asking questions or taking their time. Then, when betrayal arrives, they wonder how everything changed so suddenly. The painful reality is that trust was not stolen overnight. It was given away long before it was truly earned. There is an important difference between kindness and trust. Kindness should be offered freely because it reflects your character, not the worthiness of another person. Trust, however, is different. Trust must be earned through repeated demonstrations of integrity. Confusing these two ideas has caused countless disappointments. You can treat everyone with dignity while still protecting your heart. You can respect people without immediately believing every promise they make. Wisdom does not require suspicion. It simply refuses to separate trust from evidence. Many people believe trust begins with feelings. They assume that if someone makes them feel understood, appreciated, or emotionally connected, then trust naturally follows. Feelings are powerful, but they are not reliable foundations for lasting relationships. Emotions change quickly. They rise and fall with circumstances, moods, and expectations. Character, on the other hand, is demonstrated through consistency. Someone may create wonderful emotions during a conversation, yet repeatedly fail to keep their commitments afterward. In that case, their actions reveal more truth than your feelings ever could. Integrity is the foundation upon which genuine trust is built. Integrity means a person's words and actions remain in harmony even when no one is watching. It means they choose honesty when deception would be easier. They keep promises even when fulfilling those promises becomes inconvenient. They refuse shortcuts that require compromising their principles. Integrity cannot be measured through a single impressive moment. It reveals itself through countless ordinary decisions made consistently over time. Consistency is often underestimated because it appears ordinary. Grand gestures attract attention. Dramatic speeches inspire admiration. Extraordinary acts of generosity create unforgettable memories. Yet trust rarely grows through extraordinary moments alone. It grows because someone repeatedly does what they said they would do. They arrive when expected. They tell the truth even when the truth costs them something. They remain dependable during routine responsibilities. Day after day, month after month, their behavior becomes predictable in the best possible way. Predictability built on integrity creates safety, and safety allows trust to grow naturally. One of the clearest signs that trust has been earned is reliability during difficult seasons. Anyone can remain committed when life is comfortable. Loyalty becomes meaningful only when sacrifice becomes necessary. A friend who remains beside you after failure has demonstrated something words alone never could. A business partner who chooses honesty over personal profit has provided evidence stronger than any promise. A family member who continues supporting you through hardship has shown that their commitment rests upon values rather than convenience. Trust flourishes where consistency survives adversity. Be careful of people who demand trust instead of earning it. Manipulation often begins with urgency. Someone may insist that questioning them proves you do not care. They may portray healthy caution as disrespect, or accuse you of being overly suspicious simply because you wish to observe before making important decisions. Genuine character does not fear thoughtful evaluation. Honest people understand that trust develops naturally. They recognize that confidence cannot be forced. The need to pressure someone into immediate trust often reveals insecurity or hidden motives rather than sincerity. Discernment is frequently misunderstood. Many assume that becoming discerning means becoming cold, cynical, or suspicious of everyone. True discernment is nothing like that. Discernment does not search for reasons to reject people. It searches for evidence before before making significant commitments. It allows kindness to remain open while asking wisdom to remain awake. A discerning person still believes people can be good, loyal, and trustworthy. They simply recognize that these qualities must be demonstrated rather than assumed. Another important lesson is learning to separate potential from proven character. Countless people have entered painful relationships because they fell in love with who someone might become instead of honestly accepting who they consistently were. Potential can inspire hope, but hope alone cannot sustain trust. Every individual possesses the ability to improve, but trust cannot be built upon future possibilities. It must rest upon present evidence. Believing in someone's potential is admirable. Entrusting your future to unproven character is dangerous. Forgiveness and trust should also never be confused. Forgiveness releases bitterness and allows healing to begin. Trust requires evidence that change has genuinely occurred. Someone may sincerely apologize for breaking your confidence, and forgiveness may indeed be the right response. Yet wisdom understands that forgiveness does not erase the need for accountability. Rebuilding trust requires time, consistency, humility, and repeated demonstrations of dependable behavior. Without these qualities, forgiveness may restore peace, but it cannot restore confidence. Pay close attention to the people who remain consistent when circumstances offer them opportunities to act differently. Character shines brightest when compromise would bring immediate reward. An honest individual tells the truth even when lying would produce personal gain. A loyal person refuses to betray confidence even when gossip promises social acceptance. A compassionate person continues showing kindness even when others choose cruelty. These decisions reveal values that cannot be manufactured for appearance alone. They become living evidence that trust has found a worthy foundation. Healthy relationships never demand blind faith. Instead, they encourage transparency, communication, and accountability. People with integrity welcome honest questions because they have nothing to hide. They understand that openness strengthens relationships rather than weakening them. They recognize that trust grows through truth, not through secrecy or emotional pressure. When both people value honesty more than image, confidence deepens naturally because nothing important depends upon maintaining a false appearance. Life becomes far less complicated when you stop measuring people by their intentions alone and begin evaluating them by their demonstrated character. Many individuals sincerely intend to become better, more dependable, or more disciplined. Good intentions are valuable, but intentions without consistent action remain incomplete. The world is filled with people who meant well but repeatedly failed to live according to their promises. Wisdom appreciates sincere intentions while placing trust only where actions consistently confirm them. Every meaningful relationship will eventually present opportunities to practice discernment. Friends, coworkers, business partners, mentors, and even family members reveal themselves over time through the choices they repeatedly make. The wise person does not rush ahead of this process or attempt to force certainty before evidence appears. They understand that trust is not a gift to distribute carelessly, but a treasure to invest wisely. They continue treating others with respect, compassion, and dignity while patiently observing whether honesty, reliability, humility, accountability, and integrity continue appearing through ordinary moments until confidence becomes the natural result of proven character rather than the fragile product of hopeful assumptions or persuasive words.